Hey, Jinx!
Truck stop!
Welcome to a very special unboxing. Yes, this is the Hasbro Mythic Tier HEROQUEST remake. Now, for those of you who don't know, HEROQUEST is an old board game that features little figures that you stamp around the board, kill monsters, find the treasure, rescue the damsel in distress. There's all kinds of things you can do. It had a D&D style of play where one person controlled the monsters and everybody else controlled the heroes. So quite a while back, Hasbro did this Kickstarter type campaign where they said, oh, if people are interested in an approved version of this board game, we'll make it if we raise $1 million. Well, by the time the smoke cleared and the contributions had been made, they raised $3 million. And it was one of those things where each financial goal that was met beyond the $1 million, you got extras. And I think I saw in an email that they were so excited and they raised so much money, they're just going to give us all the extras. I think that's the case. We'll find out because I got it. So here it is, the HEROQUEST game system. This is a big old box that has basically the main game, the core game. Just like in the 90s. This box art is amazing. The wizard, the barbarian, what was that one? Elf, and the dwarf. And this box is huge. So if you were the regular tier backer, this is all you get. But because I did the mythic tier, I get some extras. Now, they are going to sell that base game in retail stores, but this stuff is exclusive to people like me who backed this thing up when it first started for an extra $50. So the Mythic Contents includes 4 hero miniatures, 18 monsters, 6 white combat dice, 14 game cards, 4 character cards, cardboard game tiles, 3 quest books, heroic contents, which means 5 miniatures and 4 cards. Whew! And I got a quest pack, Keller's Keep. Gotta do something about this lighting. So this is an expansion pack that it looks like a dwarven mine. And indeed, we have the dwarf fighting a gargoyle. It's really nice art. In the background, you got some kind of a ledge here with a bunch of creatures or people on it. The king is trapped in the forbidding recesses of Keller's Keep, a subterranean vault deep within an ancient fortress. But the key to this secret location is found only in the fragments of a map, hidden far underground. The heroes must make their way through eerie passages to reach the king in Keller's Keep before Zargon and his evil forces do. So we've got pictures of everything that's in it. So basically you use the same main game board, but you get all these extras. Pretty sweet. And I got another one. HEROQUEST, Return of the Witchlord Quest Pack. So here we have the Witchlord. Yeah, that's a character from the original game, I remember. Tough boss. Very hard to defeat. My box is damaged. Yeah. That sucks a lot. I kinda don't like that. I'm gonna have to send this back, I think. So I will not open it. I think this box was made by Case Knives. The cruel Witchlord survived the great battle and sought refuge in his subterranean fortress. Presumably they're referring to the original game. Soon, he will have recovered enough strength to lead his mutant army in a vengeful attack against the realm. You must journey across the barren lands and confront the Witchlord. Beware, his fortress is filled with legions of vile monsters and deadly traps. Here's the back of the main game system showing you a game in progress. Now, back in the day, these pieces were made of cardboard and plastic, but these are now all plastic. Same with the doorways. This is going to be awesome. I put a lot of thought into what knife I will be using to cut this stuff open. This is my most precious knife. It is the Walmart Ozark Trail $1 knife, which actually has a name. It's called the Navaja. For those of you who didn't know that, I didn't. Anyway, I bought this before I was a knife guy. Had no idea how terrible it was, but I carried it with me all across the country. From California to Connecticut to Florida, I road tripped this bad boy all over the place. And at some point I learned I absolutely hated serrations, so I removed them with a Dremel. Obviously I had no idea what I was doing. My friends and I played this game a lot when I was a kid. I am really looking forward to this. We are met with the same image. And here they are. Here we have the Wizard. In the game, you can use them to cast fireballs on your enemies and healing spells on your friends. He's got a staff with a crescent moon on it, and he's holding his hand up in some kind of invocation, presumably. This is the one I always like to play as, the dwarf. He's basically Gimli with a giant axe. Really nice detail. You can see the links in the chainmail. He's got all kinds of pouches on his belt. The axe even has a couple of chips on it. We have the Barbarian. I like the base on the Barbarian because his... Oh, shit, look at his feet. They're bloody enormous. I don't know why I said that like an Irishman. But he's like standing on a little rock face there. Very muscly, very Conan the Barbarian. Wearing minimal armor, so he can do maximum damage with his very long two-handed sword. Also runic. And here we have the elf, who is wielding also a runic sword. She's got a tattered, feathery-looking cloak, and a mixture of what looks like chainmail and plate mail, with a few potions on her belt. Now, moving on to the enemies, we have... I don't remember what these guys were called. Death Knights, I want to say. They were very tough. When you walked into a room and saw one of these, oof, get your healing potions ready, you know what I mean? There is an incredible amount of detail on this. I love the skull armor look. The cloak is all tattered and torn. Oh man, this looks great. The horned helmet, the shield. That is awesome. I was not expecting this much detail. Here's one of the standard enemies. It's a mummy. A lot of detail on this one too. You can see the individual wrappings. That looks so awesome. And that is oddly terrifying. That tormented scream. Anyway, these guys went down pretty quick, but if they gang up on you, you're in trouble. I don't quite remember a lot of these, because I was a child when I played this, but I think these were called the Fimirs. And you only got a couple of them. They're just weak little kind of solo enemies that, didn't take a whole lot to take care of. But they would wander the halls of the dungeon and try to get a few hits on you while you were on your way to bigger adventures. The zombie. I remember this was one of my favorite enemies just because, they're really weak and easy to take down, but there's just something about fighting a zombie in a fantasy game. It's very endearing. I like his hairdo. Kind of looks like Mo from the Three Stooges. He's got torn up pants and a broken ass sword, so Can't do much damage, but man, what a nice figurine. And then we have the skeleton. There's a lot of detail on this figure. We got a sweet belt with some cool leg armor. Pauldrons with spikes on them. Little skeletal feet. And a scythe. Yes. By the way, these are kind of color-coded. The white ones are like undead, the green ones are flesh and bone, and the gray ones tend to be some kind of supernatural enemy. And here we have a lady with a cool-looking sword, sort of like a billhook kind of deal. It might be another femur. I don't know. A female femur, perhaps. Popping these out randomly. We have the goblin. These are probably the weakest things that you can encounter because they're tiny, but they're also spry. This one's got a couple of cool looking daggers with like harpoon tips on them. Wearing a couple of large earrings too, with a sinister scowl on its face. I really appreciate the details, even in these lesser enemies. Very nice. Ah, another goblin. I guess this is the male version. Yeah, if I didn't mention it before, in this game you could get male and female versions of all the characters. This one's got a Tristan Barnett cleaver in its hand. The face kind of reminds me of a gremlin from the movie Gremlins. Oh, that looks awesome. And then we have a whole bunch of different styles of orc. Here's a couple of them that are carrying massive swords. Now the orcs are just big and dumb, but they are big. They are tough and dangerous in large numbers. I like the cloak clasp it's got on its shoulder. Pretty heavily armored. Love those leg pieces. Oh, check out the back. That is awesome. And here we have another orc carrying a giant axe. This could be one of the best figures I've seen so far, in my opinion. He's got a cool mohawk. He's in a battle stance ready to swing. Check out that axe head. That is fantastic looking. Awesome. This is, yeah, probably my favorite so far. I don't remember these from the original game. They're probably extras or added in. They're like murlocs. They're like fishmen. They look great though. Look at that gaping maw. It almost looks like baleen in there. And it's got like a harpoon kind of weapon. Armor similar to the orcs, that kind of scaled look. And a fin at the top of its head. There's a few of these, and they're big. These must be pretty tough. Oh, Big Daddy himself. The gargoyle. This is the figure I was most looking forward to checking out. The hardest enemy in the game. It's got the jagged sword. Oop, that cool ceremonial looking axe. Or is that a halberd? It's too long to be an axe, I would think. I like how the skin is crackled in places, including the wings. A lot of detail in that too. It's constructed from multiple pieces. You can see where they came together. Yes, this is the ultimate evil of the dungeon. Then we get the set of battle dice, where you have the lion shield, the skull, and the evil bunny. These symbols just represent giving damage, taking damage, or blocking damage. And finally, 2 cheap red dice. Well, those are the figurines. Diving down into the next layer of the HeroQuest game system box. Oh yeah, Look at all this stuff. I think it's even laid out in the same way it was in the original game. I remember finding the character sheets in this little slot. Get a whole pad of them. So this is basically the way you kept track of your character. You wrote their name, a bunch of stats. You can just write down whatever weapons and armor you accrue as you go. Quests completed. It was basically a very slimmed down D&D character sheet where you kept track of your coins and your potions and that kind of thing. And then you can just kind of put it away and a week or two later come back to it and it's all written down there. Now my friends and I remember we actually kept our character sheets for a long time. I don't know. My friend Soup Master was the owner of the game. Who knows where this stuff is now. Anyway, then we have the cards. A whole bunch of them. I don't remember there being this many. Now, one of the things I should mention is that they've tried as best as they could to keep all of the artwork original, including the fun quirks. Oh, look at the back. That brings back so much nostalgia. That's exactly the same. I like the explanation point for no reason. Gem! Tucked into the toe of an old boot, you find a small gem. Another gem. Presumably that's the other boot. Gold. I'm just gonna go, show a few. Wandering Monster. Oh yes, I remember flipping this card and it's like, you just get attacked by a monster. That sucked. And it was by chance too, but it sucks when it happens. Ball of Flame. This is a spell. Yeah. See the back here? That looks different to me. I don't remember what it actually looked like in the original. Anyway, these are spells that your wizard could cast on things. Ball of Flame. Inflicts 2 points of damage right away. Then you roll 2 red dice, and for every 5 or 6, the damage is reduced by 1 point. And a lot of chance in this game. That's why it's so difficult. This was a really good spell, I remember. Summon Orcs. You roll dice and you could have anywhere from 4, 5, or 6 orcs that you get to control. This spell was a lifesaver. I remember we used to save these up for the boss fight. And then we get the equipment cards. These are the various mystical, magical weapons and things that you can find along the way or purchase between games, I believe, using the loot that you found. A hand axe was 200 gold coins? You could also throw it at a monster, but it's lost once you throw it. Plate mail armor. So yeah, you basically just equipped your characters by buying this stuff. It's basically an RPG on a board. Oh, I remember this one too. The Talisman of Lore. It's an artifact. So if you find it, it increases your mind points by 1 for as long as your character wears it. Oh, this one is such a classic photo. I remember this one very well. Another artifact lets you cast 2 spells in a single turn. This is probably one of the more powerful of the artifacts. And the rest of these are cards that describe your characters and some of the other ones. Oh, so that's what that thing is. It's an abomination. Move 6 squares, 3 attack dice, 3 defense dice, 2 body points, 3 mind points. Goblins and orcs. So these are just like quick reference cards, basically. And a bunch of cards describing the rules that each player got. But enough about this crap. Let's look at the pieces. Oh, wow. This is a solid piece of plastic. So this is like a tome on an altar. Look at that. Now, I remember the bottom part here with like the drawers was just a printed out piece of cardboard that kind of went into a slot that skirted around this thing. And it was a real pain in the ass to get in and out, and it would start to fray. But no more. There's a lot of fun things to paint on these if you're into character and equipment painting. Oh, got a little mold blemish. It's the rack. You got shackles on a little wheelie thing. Some tattered cloth and shackles for the ankles. Wow, look at the rock there. That looks so cool. It's like elephant skin. Man, Soup Master's gonna love these. I remember this little fancy chair. Very Victorian. Or maybe even older. Like, could be like Gilded Age, maybe? That tacked plush leather look. I love it. A couple of tables that you can decorate and stuff. I think we might have made up a rule that if your character was standing on a table, it got like a bonus or something for being, you know, having the high ground. I like the way that these 4x4 cuts of wood stick out from the banded parts a little bit unevenly. That is a nice detail. Oh, God. Got it. So, you can check this weapons rack to see if you could find a weapon that might be better than the one you've got. This was kind of funny because it's like, you found a dagger. Like, look at this friggin' thing. We could arm the whole party. And here we have the alchemist's bench, which has scales, bottles, a little feather quill, notes, a necklace thing, an open drawer. Again, incredible amounts of detail to have a lot of fun painting if you're into that. So awesome. I'm not going to bother trying to pop those out, but you got a bunch of rats. Decorate around the room. You got little skulls that you can drop here and there, and various animal skulls as well. Got a few of these little treasure chests with a sinister looking lock. It's like a fanged creature. It's got handles on either side. Even the bottom's got patterning in the wood. That is great. The sarcophagus. I remember this piece well as well. Whatever. It's a neat stone tomb for a fallen soldier. Oh, I didn't even know the lid came off. That is incredible. So you could put, like, some of the skulls and stuff in there if you wanted to. Huh. Did it come off when I was a kid like that? I remember this piece too, the fireplace. This is one where, you know, as a kid, it had the base piece and everything else was cardboard and just a picture of a fireplace. It was also one of the first to fray and fall apart. But not anymore. It is all one solid piece with three-dimensional details. A couple of terracotta soldiers in there and a mirror or painting perhaps. Whatever you want it to be. And here is the bookshelf with some kind of an animal skull in there, some scrolls, and books, and some nice woodworking as well. Again, another piece that was mostly cardboard when I was a kid. And here we have kind of an armoire sort of thing. Yeah, just another furniture piece to decorate the various rooms of your dungeon. Very, very nice. Love the woodworking. And then we have a crap ton of doors, closed and open. Again, these were cardboard when I was a kid, and the open doors in particular were just very flimsy and weak, small piece of cardboard. They didn't last. Check out the detail. You got the hinges, the door handle thing, a skull at the top there at the keystone. Looks like some kind of tentacle or root thing. Probably roots. Give you the illusion that you're far underground. So you get 5 of these and 16 of the open doors. Let's go to the next level. This thing is way bigger than I remember. my field of view for my camera can only show you a little bit. I liked how the rooms were given these different pastel-like colors, and the tiles are cracked, and you got shit laying around and bones. This is where the adventure happens. Ooh, wonder what happened to that guy. And then we have the rest. Oh boy. So here we get the screen. Here's what you see on the other side. So the idea was that you put this on the game board like this, and it hides all this space here so that the other players can't see what you're doing. And there's all kinds of cool information on the back to help you out. Like this monster chart, telling you how creatures move, attack, defend, and just a quick rundown of the combat mechanics. Here we have a whole bunch of tiles. These basically get punched out, and they represent different things around the board. Here we have a staircase, which usually signifies the entrance or the exit of the dungeon. And you got these like sewer grate things, don't know what that is. These stone things would block off certain passageways to restrict the map to different parts of the map. And then you have these, I think these were like secret doors that, you know, you put this there to show that it's like a passageway. And there's more on the back. I think this was the staircase that's ended the level, or maybe started it, I can't remember. Skulls, debris, I don't know what that is. I don't remember. Then we have the literature, the rule book, and the quest book. Well, the rule book just tells you how to play the game. Gives you a little bit of background into the story. I'm not going to read all that. The quest book, this is where the fun is. It describes the quests in detail. Gives you a little story behind the quest. This is where all the monsters and stuff reside, and basically whoever's running the enemies keeps track of all this. And as your characters go through the dungeon and open the doors and peek inside, they encounter the enemies, and yeah, you get to the end with the treasure, or there's always some kind of a goal to accomplish. So for example, this is the first quest called the Trial. There are a whole bunch of events that can happen. Like here it tells you the weapons on the weapons rack are rusted and broken. Nothing that the heroes would want. And a couple of hidden treasures. The first hero to search them gets these amounts of gold. And instructions for the Dungeon Master. Zargon. You may tell everyone that there are no traps or secret doors in this first quest. However, you should also warn them that this is a tough adventure. It is meant to show the players that their chances of survival depends on how well they work together. Yes. And then the quests just get more and more difficult until you get to the very end. And you can even make up your own quests, which we did. I don't want to go into too much detail. I'm mostly just showing you what's in the box. So I'm going to put this back in. Well, that's interesting. On the inside lid of the box, I found a single character sheet. I wonder what that's about. So there it is. The HEROQUEST game system. Now, like I said, they will be selling these in retail stores. I don't know when. I don't know any of those details. I backed this thing at the Mythic tier because I'm going to get stuff that you can't get in the stores, which I'll show you in another video because this one is already very, very long.